Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Braden, Tim, Second Legacy, you are amazing. And oh, do we have a show for you today? If you are ready for some humor and some sarcasm and just watching the left eat themselves with their own actions, particularly the gun controllers, oh, this is the show for you. We're going to talk about MSNBC. Yeah, they kind of made some scheduling changes, which are quite suspect. We're going to break it all down right now. So make sure you guys are liking these videos, subscribing to the channel, turning the notification bell on, telling all your friends who you really, truly love because they deserve the best. And I hope that's us. So with that said, Tim, I mean, listen, MSNBC, they do tend to be a little lefty, a little smidgen.
MSDNC is
you're right.
The proper.
You're right. You're not wrong. Yeah. So particular focus here is Joe Scarborough and
Morning Joe
Brzezinski. Yeah, the Morning Joe show, because they aren't like hyperbolic and extremely rhetoric driven and extremely partisan. They aren't. In fact, Tim, the interesting thing that we're about to cover is MSNBC cut their show from air after the presidential attempted assassination for fear of them saying something inflammatory.
Because he can't help himself.
Oh my God.
That's all that clown does, and that's all the left does. I mean, the whole reason there was even an assassination attempt is because of all the propaganda flying around coming from
rhetoric,
the pro-violence people on the far left. They're incentivizing this stuff.
100%.
And so MSDNC is probably scared they might be held liable for something Morning Joe says.
They wouldn't. They would. Well, you know what? Enough of the setup. I think that was tasty little morsels we dropped. Like pulled a little Hansel and Gretel to go into the woods. Let's get in here real quick. This is from a show called Rising on the Hill. They have a very interesting little show that I like observing every once in a while. But this is segment 15, Dr. Slides. Let's get it.
On what has become one of the biggest political news days of the year, MSNBC's Morning Joe has been pulled off the air. CNN reports that the decision was made to, quote, avoid a scenario in which one of the show's stable of 24 plus guests might make an inappropriate comment on live television that could be used to assail the program and the network as a whole. CNN also notes that it's not the first time MSNBC has made this sort of programming decision in a charged political moment. Last year, after Hamas executed its deadly October 7th attack on Israel, MSNBC pulled 3 of its Muslim broadcasters from the air. It's not just MSNBC that's worried. Comedy Central's The Daily Show has axed its planned coverage of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee this week. Take a listen to the Hill columnist Steve Krakauer reacting to the news.
We'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that in 1 second. Dude.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so just objectively high level. What does that tell you about the network itself if you couch yourself as a news network and you pull the shows when you're covering things that are intensely or politically intense moments? You just pull the show because your hosts are going to say something inflammatory. Your network might be screwed.
Yeah. Well, that's all they do is say inflammatory things. That's why we saw an assassination attempt. It's propaganda. And even they know it's propaganda, and even they know their propaganda tends to go too far, which is why they're pulling their propaganda shows. And Morning Joe cracks me up because I believe, wasn't he out there actually saying Biden needed to step aside? I mean, he's...
No.
I thought he was part of that chorus.
No, what he was he was the guy who, like 3 weeks before Biden short-circuited on the debate stage, he was the one saying it was the best Joe Biden that's ever been. He was cogent. He's so sharp. He's so mentally in tune. And then after the debate, he was the one saying, like, well, I think we could maybe have a conversation. And then his wife, Mika, was like, get in line. And he's like, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah, I thought he had a momentary switch of heart there.
He wavered.
Okay.
He wavered, and then he went right back. Mika was like, no, that ain't going to happen, Joe.
He may
say Morning Joe, but it's the Morning Mika. Come on, let's be honest.
He Harry Sisted himself right back
Harry Sisted himself, yeah.
Wow.
Right, but I've got more.
Joe Biden's amazing. Wow.
Wow. Well, I've got more for you, Tim.
Okay.
There's even more. These guys were merciless. I love this. This is number 16.
But if you can't trust Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski to lead a news coverage of that, what does that say about the program itself and the network itself, which every night when it comes to breaking news or a big political night and primetime is led by its opinion hosts as well. So I think this is enormous right now.
Spectator editor-at-large Ben Domenech similarly wrote on X, quote, NBC doesn't trust Joe Biden's favorite show to not damage the network with their comments on the assassination attempt. Joe and Mika and friends officially benched. To which National Review journalist Charles Cook wrote, quote, just wait until they find out about Joy Reid.
So true.
It's totally true. Because, guys, if you have never had the mind-numbing effect of observing Joy Reid on her show, The Readout, it is some of the most vitriolic hatred and anger that you could ever see.
And absolute pure stupidity. Man. Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
it hurts.
It is painfully bad. I mean, it is. Oh, it's so bad. And, he just said it. What does it say about your show if you can't cover something of this magnitude?
Well, they're thinking they're going to have a Tenacious D moment, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
And if you don't know what that is, it's Tenacious D was in Australia doing a concert, which has now been canceled. And I guess Glass, the associate of Jack Black, it was his birthday, gave him a birthday cake, and then he's like, what's your birthday wish or whatever? And it's like, don't miss Trump next time. And now Jack Black's out there saying, it totally blindsided me, and I don't support political violence, and I've canceled the tour and all creative adventures going forward. This is just totally unacceptable. So, but we all know Jack Black is very pro-Biden.
He's lefty.
And all he's doing is damage control there because the backlash was intense, as it should be.
Well, it is interesting how you spend 8 years blasting the rhetoric that a man's Hitler and the destroyer of democracy, and he's going to end your life as you know it. And all of a sudden, when something pops off and is bad, you kind of don't have anything else to talk about.
Yeah.
Which is why you see that we talked about it pre-show. The Biden campaign has readjusted their messaging away from Trump is Satan and Hitler to now focusing on policies over personality. Oh, that's a winner.
Yeah, that's how they lose.
That's going to do it.
Because that's all the Democrats have is hatred, vitriol, and lies. And so when Trump, their idea of a campaign is just totally trashing somebody's personality, making up lies, taking things completely out of context, like Trump said there's going to be a bloodbath. That's a financial bloodbath. That's painfully clear. It's been debunked, but they still parrot these lies. That's what the left does. They take things out of context. They attack people personally, and they say the most vile, evil, nasty things they can possibly say, like Trump's a dictator, Trump's a fascist, Trump is Hitler. And then you wonder why somebody takes a shot at him. Well, not everybody wonders. We know why.
Well, not everyone wonders, correct. That's actually what I was about to say. I was like, not everybody. It is interesting, though, because I think this has an effect on policy-wide or public-wide. I have one more clip. We'll get to it in a second. But this is interesting because if you look at everything that's occurred, if say you're a low-information voter or you're just someone who just
say
goes
Democrat
and does it. Oh, wow. Wow. So aggressive. Oh, my goodness.
It's just shorter.
It's just
convenience.
You're a meanie pants. Anyway. So that was a good one, though. But so if we go down this road a little bit, like you look at, they said he was these things and they impeached him 3 times. They tried to get him out of office and they couldn't. And then he got out of office and he was unelected. And then they tried to arrest him X amount of times. And then after that, they tried to convict him and call him a felon, which then they did. And then after that, all of a sudden he magically got shot. It doesn't take a lot to leap to go, wait a minute. It sure seems someone's after him.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is really easy, guys. This is really easy.
When he came down that escalator in 2016, the talks of impeachment began soon thereafter. They're
already talking about the impeachment again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, of course. I mean, he orchestrated his own assassination attempt against himself. He needs to be impeached for that.
That's actually a thing on Twitter.
Oh, I know it is.
Actually a thing.
They're literally saying that this is all staged. He did it to himself, and I just responded to one of those stupid comments this morning. Somebody saying, "Oh, it was just all staged. It's all theater." Yeah, I'm sure they compensated the dead shooter quite well for taking a bullet in the face for his staged shooting. I mean,
right.
They don't even listen to themselves when they say this stupid stuff.
No, they don't. They don't. But anyway, that was a heck of a Rumble strip.
What were we talking about?
Well, I got one. You'd be seeing, by the way, behind the scenes, you guys would be surprised how often that happens. So what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. That's why we have
Thankfully, we have notes.
We can always go right back. So we were talking about Mika Brzezinski and Morning Joe getting pulled off the air in the political story of like the last 40 decades because they couldn't control themselves. Well, this is the final verbiage from that same clip from The Hill, which kind of puts a nice summation on it. Let's hit number 17.
So I think this is a massive indictment of Morning Joe, of Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, that their own network does not trust their commentary on like the biggest day in news history in a while, reacting to the major political news stories. They're not trusted, their guests are not trusted to give commentary that the network is confident in. That's a major blow to them.
They could have given commentary on Biden's big 59-minute Q&A that went exceedingly well. The same day he called Zelensky President Putin and then went on to give commentary and call Kamala Harris Vice President Trump. They didn't want to talk about that.
These
Instead,
are very easy people to confuse. You know, anyone could make that mistake.
Right.
You know the craziest part about that, Tim? If you watch that show, that woman, she's actually a progressive.
Oh, is she really?
She's.
I kind of got that sense at the beginning, but then then she came back around to, you know.
It's just too easy to mock. No, she's a progressive. She's literally done several segments blasting the idea that the Democrats are not doing progressive enough things, like several segments. But it's so easy to mock. It's like, are you guys serious?
Yeah.
Oh, it hurts so bad. But don't worry, Mika and Joe are totally a normal show. They are not biased. They can totally control themselves. They aren't a risk.
Yeah.
That's why they canceled them.
There's a funny, I just going through my tweets, I retweeted something from creepy.org where it said, President Putin meeting Vice President Trump, and it's Zelensky shaking Harris's hand. I mean, how embarrassing is that when you're literally at the NATO summit and your whole shtick of your presidency is arming Ukraine, and then the Ukrainian president walks up and you introduce him as Putin, the aggressor against Ukraine. I mean, you couldn't ask for a bigger stupid comment. I mean, how do you do that?
It's so good.
Well, I know how you do it. You're not there.
I mean, he's going to defeat Putin.
You can tell Putin's at the top of my mind. Anyway.
Anyway.
Vice President Trump, would you like to say something? I'm sorry.
Dang it. I hate when that happens. All right, well, take us out because we've been living on the Rumble strip.
Oh, okay, fine. Anyway, so I hope you guys had a good time with today's conversation about good old Morning Joe. Thank you for watching Second Legacy, and we'll talk to you guys soon.